بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله تعالى نحمده ونستعين به ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تبارك وتعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله تعالى فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى، وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. Before we continue, inshallah ta'ala, the explanation of hadith number 7 in the chapter of the intention, I just want to remind of a quick thing, inshallah. Now, wish the people that left were still here to hear it. But anyways, it's basically one of the habits that people have at the end of every salah. After the Imam says, Salaam alaikum, Salaam alaikum, what a person should be doing is the dhikr of Allah and istighfar. Some people immediately they start to turn to the person next to them and say, Taqabbal Allah, Taqabbal Allah. I just wonder where they got that from. It is not from the hadith, it's not from the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nor did the Sahaba ever do that. This is a habit that people get from their families and from things like that. But nowhere is it to be found in the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When you finish the Salah, you should be doing istighfar, saying astaghfirullah 3 times and doing the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as I said before to the brothers that attend the lectures here, that we do istighfar immediately after the salah, because bearing in mind that the salah that we put forth, subhanAllah, we're not worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the way that He deserves to be worshipped. It is lacking in every way, shape or form. So we ask Allah forgiveness for that salah. So we should not be spending any time, asking things, taqabbal Allah, right and left to the person next to us, because this is not the hadith of the Prophet. We don't close our salah, finish our salah with a bid'ah, with something that is not from the sunnah of the Prophet. I just wanted to remind myself and my brothers of this. And unfortunately, some of the people that actually do this, they already got up and left. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teach us and make us from the ones that follow the way from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the hadith number 7, حديث أبو هريرة إن الله لا ينظر إلى أجسادكم ولا إلى صوركم ولكن ينظر إلى قلوبكم. Verily, Allah does not look at your bodies, nor does He look at your shapes, but rather He looks at your hearts. And like I told you yesterday, the mu'allif said that this hadith has the same meaning as the ayah from Surah Al-Hujurat, يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله يتقاكم. O people, we have created you from male and female and made you into nations and tribes so that you may know each other. Verily, the most honorable from amongst you with Allah is the most pious, the ones with the most piety. We talked about the fact that, subhanAllah, this whole thing, this our whole religion and way of life, that is Islam, and this is from the time of Adam alayhi salam to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has always revolved around what's in the heart and what's the intention. That's why we're spending so much time in speaking about this chapter of the intention. Allah Ta'ala does not bother looking at our shapes and our bodies and our wealth or lineage or the skin of our color, the color of our skin. And that tells you that I haven't stepped on the skin of our color. I like that. SubhanAllah. So So Allah Ta'ala does not look at those things. He made those things, subhanahu wa ta'ala, but He looks at that heart that He gave us. How are we using that heart? Are we keeping it pure, or as pure as possible, or are we letting it become tainted with our sins and transgressions and bad intentions and so on and so forth? And I gave the example of two people praying behind one imam at one time, but subhanAllah, you find that there's a world of difference between one and the other. When it comes to the reward for that salah, you could find that one person is being rewarded for that salah, and the person next to him is actually incurring sins or sin for that the same salah because of the intention not being right, subhanAllah. So there's a tremendous difference as the reward or the punishment is based on what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala finds in our heart, as the ayah, إِنَّهُ عَلَى رَجْعِهِ لَقَادِرٌ. Allah Ta'ala is capable of bringing that person back. يَوْمَ تُبْلَى السَّرَائِرُ, the day that that which is secret, that which is hidden, concealed in the hearts will be tested, and that person will be rewarded or punished based on that. But when it comes to the life of this world, and this is what I closed it yesterday, when it comes to the life of this world, we only see what's on the outside, the outside layer that a person lets you see, and that's how that's the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who knows all of the unseen. He knows what's in the heart. He sees it directly, whether you let Him or not. It doesn't matter. It's not the same thing as when you deal with people. And people only see from you that which you allow them to see. And hence the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, hadith of Salama, he said, إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ وَإِنَّكُمْ تَخْتَصِمُونَ إِلَيْهِ. Verily, I'm only a human being, and you guys, you people sometimes you will have a quarrel between the two of you. So the two of you will have a quarrel or a problem, and they will come to me to judge between them. وَأَقْضِي subhanallah, وَلَعَلَّ بَعْضَكُمْ أَنْ يَكُونَ أَلْحَنَ بِحُجَّتِهِ مِنْ بَعْضٍ. One of you could be more eloquent than the other, and he will come and he presents his case the proper way. And subhanAllah, that kind of makes you think about the whole career of a lawyer. SubhanAllah, when you think about this particular career, it's a little on the dangerous side, because a lawyer, in essence, he will come, and if he's good and if he knows how to present the case, that he could make it so that the guilty is innocent and the innocent is guilty, depending on how skilled he is. Then where is the truth? Where is the balance? Where is the scale of truth versus falsehood? It gets lost because of that. So the Prophet ﷺ alluded to this. One of you could be more eloquent than the other, who presents his case really well. And subhanAllah, فَأَقْضِي لَهُ عَلَى نَحْوٍ مِمَّا أَسْمَعُ. And I will judge in his favor based on what I hear. وَلَكِنْ فِي الْآخِرَةِ عَلَى مَا فِي السَّرَائِرِ. But what on the day of reckoning, when it comes to the judgment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is based on what is concealed. وأخرج هذا الحديث أبو داود رحمه الله تعالى، أخرج نفس الحديث بلفظ آخر, another narration of Abu Dawud, of سلمة, قال صلى الله عليه وسلم إنما أنا بشر وإنكم تختصمون إلي. I'm only a human being, and you come to me with your quarrels, with your problems. ولعل بعضكم أن يكون ألحن بحجته من بعض. And one of you would be more eloquent than the other. فأقضي له على نحو ما أسمع. I judge in his favor based on what I hear. فمن قضيت له, this is a difference, فمن قضيت له من حق أخيه بشيء فلا يأخذ منه شيئا فإنما أقطع له قطعة من النار. نسأل الله العفو والعافية والسلام. He said that, and subhanAllah, when I judge in someone's favor, so if I judge in your favor, and I give you something that does not belong to you, and you take it, Because when you're given something that you don't belong to you, well, you still have a little chance to say, you know what, no, this is actually, I was more, I presented more proofs, and I overpowered my opponent based on what I said. But you know the truth, the reality is so and so or such and such. And subhanAllah, you have that last chance to make it right, because the Prophet ﷺ said, if I give you something that does not belong to you, then I have given you a piece of the hellfire. I give you a piece of the hellfire. Nas'alullah al-afwa wal-afiyah. And that reminds us of the story of Dawood alayhi salam, a part of it anyways. When هل أتاك نبأ الخصم إذ تسوروا المحراب? Have you received the news of the two khasm, litigants, that they climbed over the wall of al-mihrab, the praying area of Dawood alayhi salam. Dawood alayhi salam had a private area where he prayed, and he was praying at night, and then two people all of a sudden appeared out of nowhere, subhanAllah. إِذْ دَخَلُوا عَلَى دَاوُودَ فَفَزِعَ مِنْهُمْ. Dawood, they entered upon Dawood, and he was startled by their presence, because he was not expecting, being the king and a prophet and security is tight, and all of a sudden two people appeared, and subhanAllah, he got startled by them. قالوا لا تخف خصمان بغى بعضنا على بعض فاحكم بيننا بالحق ولا تشطط واهدنا إلى سواء الصراط. So don't worry, it's two people with a quarrel, with a problem. And we come to you to judge between us, so do judge between us with the truth. And subhanAllah, lead us to the straight path. قال إن هذا أخي له 99 نعجة ولي نعجة واحدة فقال أكفلنيها وعزني في الخطاب. This is the point. وعزني في الخطاب. SubhanAllah, he said, this is my brother, he has 99 sheep, but I only have one. He said, add the one that you have to mine, and he eloquently overpowered me. This person has more eloquence, he's stronger in his speech, and he overpowered me by his speech to try to convince me to give him that. So when a person is actually the one that is going to overpower the other, his opponent, then obviously when he goes in front of a judge, he'll be able to do the same and overpower his opponent, or use his eloquence to sway the judge in his favor, to his direction, subhanAllah. But as the story goes in Surah Sad, Dawood alayhi salam immediately said, لَقَدْ ضَرَبَكَ بِسُؤَالِ نَعْجَتِكَ إِلَى نِعَاجِهِ وَإِنَّ كَثِيرًا مِنَ الْخُلَطَاءِ لَيَبْغِي بَعْضُهُم عَلَى بَعْضٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَقَلِيلٌ مَا هُمْ. Dawood alayhi salam said, he certainly has oppressed you by asking for that your one sheep to be added to his, and very a lot of associates, they oppress each other, except for those that have believed and have done righteous deeds, and very few are they. But subhanAllah, then Allah Ta'ala immediately says, وَقَدْنَ دَاوُودُ أَنَّمَا فَتَنَّاهُ فَاسْتَغْفَرَ رَبَّهُ وَخَرَّ رَاكِعًا وَأَنَابَ. And then Dawood, الظن سبحان الله, يعني الظن في لغة العرب يعني في الأصل أنه يعني الإنسان عنده شك. ظن in the Arabic language, when someone is not sure, but ظن in the Quran, the majority of the time تأتي على اليقين. But when it comes in the same word, when you find it in the Quran, the majority of the time it comes as certainty that a person has no doubt whatsoever. The person who has a good record on the day of reckoning, a record that allows him to succeed and go to Al-Jannah, he has his record, he wants to show it to everybody. He says, hey, look at my record. And my record is so good because I was sure that I will meet my reckoning with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنِّي ظَنَنْتُ أَنِّي مُلَاقٍ حِسَابِي. But here, based on that, which one is it here? ظَنَّ دَاوُود. Dawood has done that we have tested him? Is it doubt or is it certainty? Which one is it? It's certain. It is certainty. يعني أيقن داود عليه السلام، يعني عرف داود، علم داود، فهم داود عليه السلام أنما هذا كان الاختبار، إنما فتناه فاستغفر ربه وخر راكعا وأناب. He sought forgiveness from Allah and he fell in prostration and he returned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He repented to Allah. Now, for you who are not familiar with the story here for the first time, what is Dawood repented from? Because the siyaq, the ayat, they did not mention what's the mistake. So what is Dawood repented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from? And obviously that comes, you find in the tafsir, the fact that he judged between them while he only heard from one side. He did not hear from the other side. Subhanallah. Allah Ta'ala says, and Allah Ta'ala is always he always forgives the prophets and the messengers first before anything. Before he reprimands them, he forgives them. سبحانه فغفرنا له ذلك كما قال الله عز وجل وإن له عندنا لزلفى وحسن مآب. We have forgiven him that, and with us he has a high status and a good return, that he will return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be in good place. Then comes the reprimand from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya Dawood, inna ja'alnaka khalifatan fil ard. O Dawood, we have made you a ruler and vicegerent in the earth. فاحكم بين الناس بالحق ولا تتبع الهوى فيضلك عن سبيل الله. And judge between the people with truth and fairness, and don't follow vain desire unless it should lead you astray from the path of Allah. إن الذين يضلون عن سبيل الله لهم عذاب شديد بما نسوا يوم الحساب. Verily the ones that follow their vain desire, they have forgotten. الذين يضلون عن سبيل, the ones that are led astray from the path of Allah, they have forgotten that there will be a day for reckoning. So basically, a clear message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we should be using the truth and fairness and not follow our vain desires. So, the Prophet is kind of saying something similar here to the Sahaba, and someone can very well sway me to his direction because of his eloquence, but if I judge in his favor, then and it's something that he does not deserve, then it's a piece of the hellfire that he gets. فالعمل على ما في الصلاح. SubhanAllah, the most important, and SubhanAllah, this whole thing revolves around that which is hidden and concealed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يقول أفلا يعلموا إذا بعثر ما في القبور وحصل ما في الصدور. SubhanAllah, don't they know that when the grave will be dispersed, all the sons of Adam they'll come out of their graves, and then after that, that which is in the hearts will be seized. Everything that is hidden in our hearts, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will seize it, and He subhanahu wa ta'ala will judge us based on it. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be merciful with us. And first we have to be merciful with each other and try to make this heart and that which is concealed even better than what's on the outside. This is something that our illustrious predecessors excelled at. They did not care that much about what people see on the outside, but you see them focus a lot more on what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees from them, and that is what their heart contains. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teach us to be like them and imitate them. May He subhanahu wa ta'ala teach us that which we do not know and remind us of that which we have forgotten. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. الحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خيرا.
Yeah. What will the outcome of the judgment?
Of the judgment of whom?
Of the 99 sheep.
Oh, no, it turned out that it's a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's two angels in the shape of two men. And Allah Ta'ala was testing Dawood alayhi salam to teach him the importance of hearing from both sides before passing the judgment.
So it was not a real thing.
It was not a real thing. There's two angels in the shape of two men, and in order for Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to test Dawood alayhi salam.
have
So, yeah, yes.
If I remember correctly, one time I hear that same hadith say the people have 99 sheep was female sheep.
No, that's what the Christians say. That's what you find in the version of the Christians in the Bible. And subhanAllah, in this particular story of Dawood, Dawood is being insulted like you would not believe, and he becomes a womanizer and a murderer in that particular. But these are the stories made up by the Christians. But it's not true. It's two angels basically Allah Ta'ala sent in order to test Dawood alayhi salam, plain and simple, because he was going to be not only a prophet and a king, but a judge as well. So Allah Ta'ala had to make sure that he understands the concept of hearing from both sides before passing a judgment.
I also heard another story that was something like that, and the guy left his sheep with another guy and came after 10 years and asked him for the sheep, and he said, it's basically all yours. I don't know that true.
No, the story that you're referring to is the three people that got stuck in the cave. And one of them, basically, to tell the story very quickly, three people that they were traveling, and then it started raining, so they sought refuge in a cave. But subhanAllah, this big rock came down, and then shut the entrance of the cave, and they got stuck. They tried to remove the rock and couldn't. So they spoke to each other. This is the story in the Hadith of Ibn Abbas that the Prophet ﷺ told the Sahaba. The Hadith of Ibn Abbas, yeah. The Prophet ﷺ told the Sahaba this story. So basically they got stuck, and they said the only thing we can do is to invoke Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala based on the best deed that we think that we have done. And I'm not going to tell the whole story, but one of them, and it was the third one in the story, and the one that was going to make it or break it, because the first two gave their invocation based on a deed that they did, and the rock moved a little bit, but not enough for them to get out. But the third one, basically, he has a big farm, and he's employing people. Basically, just they get paid by food. And this person came and worked for him the whole day. But when he was paying everyone, the person did not really. He thought that his pay was not that much, so he just walked away from it. So subhanAllah, instead of just forgetting about it, the owner of the farm, what did he do? He invested, whatever the rice or whatever those grains, he invested them for the person, and over and over and over. So when the person came back after a long time, he said, "Pay me what you owe me." He showed him a whole valley filled with animals and said, "This is all yours." So the person said, "Do you mock me?" He said, "No, this is yours. This is what I'm supposed to pay you on that day. But since you didn't take it, I invested it for you over and over until it became this." And subhanAllah, then he took it and he left. Yeah, this is basically the story. It's the three people that got stuck in the cave. One day, inshallah, maybe we'll talk about that hadith in detail and all the benefits that it holds. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the honesty to be like a person, not just a particular person, inshallah ta'ala. Any other question? Right. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum.